All righty. Good deal. Well, welcome everybody. It is very nice to have you along with us. I love it when Angel greets us in the beginning, so I'm going to turn that over to her. She's got to unmute herself. There you go. Angel.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can.
Excellent, excellent. Well, good morning, everybody. So excited to have you join us for your Monday motivation and a power boost, because today you are going to have a breakthrough. And whether you decide to have a breakthrough or not, that's all in our mindset. Most of our success is all in the verbiage, the way we talk, and our attitude about success. And when we kickstart our week for success, then we create incredible momentum for our business. So good morning. You're going to have a breakthrough today.
All right, thank you very much, Angel. We love that. It's always very motivational to hear you say that, and I know that many people who join this group often do have those breakthroughs. We want to make sure that we provide an opportunity for people to share those breakthroughs and ahas, and so we'll give that opportunity at the end of this session. So if you have an aha, save it for us and be willing to share it at the end, if you will. Today, Gary Barnes was scheduled to do the message, and he came down with the flu last night. So if you don't mind, lift him up in prayer, and we'll hope that he recovers quickly. And so I will be bringing the breakthrough today, and I wanted to share an article that I read in entrepreneur.com written by Matt Mayberry. And the title of it was The Incredible Power of Believing in Yourself. Now think about that for just a minute, because belief is at the very core of so many things that we do. Belief makes up religions, right? Belief makes up our entire faith system, whether you choose to believe in something or you choose not to believe in something. It's very powerful and very motivating and drives pretty much everything that we do. So based on that, looking at the value of success, and you get to define what success is for you, but looking at success and what it means to you, identify somebody in your mind right now that would qualify as being a successful person. What qualifies them to be successful? Is it that they make a lot of money? Is it that they have a lot of material things, nice cars, nice homes, maybe a boat, a cabin on the lake, something like that? Or is it that they're surrounded by amazing friends and a support system? Whatever you define as success, take a good hard look at what that is. For instance, you got Steve Jobs and Martin Luther King Jr., and you've got Michael Jordan, Elon Musk, Mark Cuban. Each one of these names evokes an element of success across the boards for, what makes somebody successful. It's not the levels of success that we want to talk about. It's their level of belief in what they are achieving. Each one of those people that I just named had a belief, right? Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream. Well, that dream was his belief. It was everything to him. And so as he laid that out in his speech, we all got to cash in on his belief, his dream. As a business owner and entrepreneur, you're going to fall. You're going to have experiences that may seem like failures, but what are failures? Gary Barnes, if he were here, would tell you that failures are nothing but the stepping stones to success, that we have to see a certain element of failure in order to be able to record and measure our successes. The first element of 2 daily habits that the author of this program, this article talks about, is to count your wins. It's so easy to slip into the negative zone here. And this is why I chose this particular message for today. Instead of looking at one negative thing, look at an overwhelming landslide of positive things. Count your wins, the things that we go through every single day. Um, the little things, like I was able to hit a goal today, or I made a little bit of money today, or I got a new, I moved the needle one way or the other. I got a new client, whatever it might be. Count your wins. And if you feel like you don't have any wins today, it is not complicated to look back in the rearview mirror and see the trail of wins that got you to where you are today. So to be aware of the things, and it gives you a sense of joy, right? It gives you this opportunity to say, I really do have a lot of stepping stones to the success that I've seen today. And if you allow it, it will build upon your motivation. Confidence comes from within, right? Confidence and your belief in your own success comes from looking back and seeing the wins that you have, looking around you, seeing the amazing support that you have, the amazing friends that you have, the people who are willing to do just about anything in order to help you be successful. And if you gain that confidence, when you have confidence, it makes it a lot easier to take that next step into maybe the unknown, which is kind of the space that entrepreneurs tend to occupy, right? The next thing is, the second practice of 2 is to talk to yourself like a champion. And Angel talks a lot about this as we talk about using words that describe yourself and your efforts as a champion, not as a victim, not as someone who is struggling. You are a champion. And if you talk to yourself like a champion, if you build yourself up, I am good enough, I am successful, I will do these things instead of I can't or I won't. The more you talk to yourself like a champion, the more you start to believe that you are a champion. And the secondary note on that is surround yourself with people who talk to you like a champion. If they believe in you, if they share with you how much they believe in you, how much they support you, how much they're grateful for you, those are the people who are going to help your belief system draw into a place of abundance rather than scarcity. So talk to yourself like the champion that you are. Encourage yourself. Find something positive about, we always refer, when we talk about this topic, we always refer to the little YouTube video that made it around Facebook and made it viral, of the little girl sitting on her kitchen or her bathroom sink, and she was looking into the mirror and she was saying, I love my house, I love my dad, I love my dog, I love my stuffed animals. She just made this list of things that she loved, and she talked to herself like a champion. And she must have been, 3 years old. All the things that we have to learn from a 3-year-old, right? So those 2 things, believing in yourself and counting, but three things: counting your wins and talking to yourself like a champion, put you in the space where positive things can happen. And the opposite is true. If you count your failures, your flaws, your negatives, you put yourself in a space where more of those things tend to pile in. If you talk to yourself like a loser, guess what? You will take on the space and put off the aura of a loser. And you will find that people don't want to be close to you. They don't want to hang out with you. They want to move away from you. And that is absolutely the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. So again, count the wins and talk to yourself like a champion, because you are a champion and we believe in you. Now, I'm going to open it up for conversation, and if anybody wants to join the conversation, and Janice, if you want to, let me unmute Janice and see if there's any way that she can chat with us. Let's see here. unmute audio. Janice, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still driving, so go ahead and keep me mute because it's kind of windy.
All right, good enough.
Okay, thank you, though.
Yep. All right, and she's back muted. Anybody else want to join the conversation as far as what this means to you?
To me, it makes a lot of sense what you're saying. It's difficult to do sometimes. I'm going through a very difficult place now. I'm in my house looking. None of the contractors showed up yet, so and I have to leave this the end of the week, and it's just overwhelming. And so it's very easy to get into this place where I shouldn't be, because I hadn't even had time to do anything in my business or anything. I was completely focused and finishing up this project, which is just by myself. It's super overwhelming, you know. So I talk to myself. I look at myself in the mirror many times and say, you know, that I have to do it. And I'm really, I think I actually see my wins. I've done a lot, but still it's like it's not enough. So it's just strange. It's just a lesson, I guess, somewhere for me to become stronger. And
Alicia, you've gone through
hell,
more than most people will ever go through in their lives, and with the natural disaster and all the things that have gone on recently for you. I'll say this, and there's two things that came to my mind as you were speaking. The first one is, again, when talking about mindset, we have to make a choice. We have to make a decision whether I'm going to let this in or I'm going to let that in, right? Yeah. And the first thing that came to my mind was one of what we call isms and osophies. They're Ericisms and angelosophies. It's the mantras that we here at Experience Pros surround ourselves with and do our very best to execute every single day. One of them is this: that when the timing is right, the timing is perfect. And so what that means to me as you were speaking was that, you know, you're struggling, you're having a hard time, the contractors didn't show up, and it's easy to focus on those things and get into a place where, you know, it's not healthy for you. But if you take the mantra, when the timing is right, the timing is perfect, maybe, I don't know, but maybe there's a reason for this delay. And whatever that may be, let's let, you know, I would say let's let the Lord, you might say let's let the universe, whatever it might be, work that out. When the timing is right, the timing is perfect, and it'll be perfect when it happens. The second thing that came to me is a story of, we call them Sally Were moments. And from time to time, Sally Were will jump in on this call. She's a gal here in Denver who Angel had set up an appointment, this goes back years ago now, to meet with Sally Were. And Angel wrote it for a different date in the calendar than Sally wrote it for. And so Sally was waiting for this appointment, and Angel was unaware of the appointment having, you know, it was supposed to be next week in Angel's calendar. And so, you know, Angel didn't show up for it. And she called to apologize to Sally, and Sally said, "Don't worry about it. I just took it as an opportunity. The universe is slowing me down and saying, here is what you need to do today. Now you have a free hour to do whatever it is that you want to focus in on." And ever since that day, we've called those moments when things don't work out and the timing's wrong and it seems like you know, your contractors didn't show up. Sally Were would say, maybe that's the universe saying, here, I'm going to gift you an hour or 4 hours, this window of time, to focus in on something that you would not normally focus in on today. And so, again, it's a choice, it's a mindset, but to say, you know what, I choose this. I choose the positive. I choose to say when the timing is right, the timing is perfect. And I choose the Sally War moment to look at this through a different perspective. It's an opportunity, not a challenge.
Thank you.
Cheers, my friend. I know you're going through the test, but you are supported, you are prayed for, and lifted up on a regular basis, and that will continue.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Andrew, you got anything to jump in on? Please.
Well, thank you, Eric, for the message today, for just the reminder of where we're at, and Alicia, for your vulnerability, your honesty. I think that this is what this is for, is to remind ourselves that we're not alone, that we surround ourselves with other people that believe in us, that will support us and lift us up, because we are often our own worst critic. We remind ourselves, like, we're just the harshest on ourselves. And I had the pleasure this weekend of reading this book called Laugh It Up. I don't know if you remember last year, the internet sensation, she was Chewbacca Mom, where she put on a Chewbacca mask, and the video, she did a 4-minute video of her laughing in this Chewbacca mask. And it was the most viewed viral video on Facebook at that time. Even when she wrote this book, Laugh It Up, at that point, it had been viewed over 166 million times, and it got her all sorts of accolades. She became an internet sensation. But her story is called Laugh It Up because even though the video was all about joy and spreading laughter, she herself admits she kind of felt like a fraud because her life wasn't filled with joy and laughter. She was going through some bouts of depression, struggles with her marriage, lots of issues for herself. And so it just reminded her about having to choose joy, that joy doesn't just come. It is not just, we don't look for it. There are so many other emotions really competing for that space where joy wants to take over, shame and fear and comparison and doubt. But she wrote this story, she told this story, and maybe you guys are familiar with the hymn, It Is Well With My Soul. It was written by a gentleman named Horatio Spafford in 1873. And it was written by a man who had lost his business in a fire and was going through some incredible financial difficulties, and his wife and 4 daughters went on a cruise ship and perished at sea. And as he took the next boat out to meet where they were going to meet, the captain came in. They went over the same waters where his 4 daughters had drowned in the capsized boat that his family had been on. And as they went over the water where his 4 daughters had been lost at sea, he wrote the poem, the song, It Is Well With My Soul. And it's heart-wrenching to think that we can be going through struggles and times of trials and yet still find peace and still find joy in our soul. And so the verse 1 says, when peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. And when I think about the challenges that sometimes we think are so big and so overwhelming, and we get so caught up, like Eric, you said, we focus on the negative. It's having to look at our successes, look at what is going right, what we are grateful for, what we do still have. And Alicia, I love your attitude. Like, there's a lesson here that I need to learn. There's something that I need to get out of this. I always think that too. Like, what am I supposed to be learning? What is this building in my character? What am I going through that probably I'm going to be able to walk somebody else through in the future because of the walk that I'm going through and the struggle and the challenge that I'm having. I'm going to be a testimony to somebody else to be able to walk through and get through it and show them that they can do it too. And so wherever we are, I think it makes us stronger, and we come out of it in a whole different place than had we not walked through that challenge before. And so I know it's kind of depressing, a depressing story to bring out, but life isn't simple, and it's not cookie cutter, and it isn't a straight shot of I started my business and now I'm going to be successful. It's this roller coaster that will test us. It will test our attitude and our fortitude and our ability, our willingness to really push through when times are tough. But if we can stay the course and stay consistent when life is throwing waves at us, and we can stay that course and stay focused on our vision and who we are and where we're going, it won't beat us. But if we allow the dark thoughts of discouragement and shame and comparison and fear, if they win, then we lose every time. And so this weekly power boost is just to remind us that we are strong, that we were meant for this, that we are unshakable, even though the world wants to throw all these distractions and challenges at us. We have a gift, a God-breathed gift in us to go and pour into others and not do this alone, to lift up each other. And so we do this, we lock arms and we say, we got this. We might not know how, and we might not know all the whys and all the reasons all the stuff is being thrown at us, but we're going to figure it out and we're going to do it together. And the fear and the shame and the discouragement is not going to beat us. And so that's what I took away from this. We actually get to interview Candace Payne on our crosswalk program this afternoon. I think she'll be on at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And so I'll send the link to you guys if you guys want to. Actually, I'll probably just share the link with you guys after it's done. But I'm just so excited and encouraged. She talks about finding joy, having to really search out and look for joy when life isn't delivering it on a platter. She's had some real struggles, but man, this girl is funny and she's got an incredible attitude. And I'm just endeared to her now after reading her story. So the book is called Laugh It Up. Candace Payne is her name. She was the viral sensation Chewbacca mom, and she just wants us to experience radical joy because it is there. It is there for us, especially in the midst of all the junk and the dirt and the challenges. So
I love that. Thank you so much, Angel. That's I'm excited to meet Candace and to interview her on the radio show as well. And what a perfect analogy with the hymn, "It Is Well With My Soul," and the story of the author of that, his life parallels some of the things that Alicia is dealing with as well. So you can and you will get through this, I promise. This too shall pass. All right?
Thanks.
Absolutely. Well, that being the case, let's see. We've got just a couple of announcements, and then we'll move into our media training segment here. We have next Monday, we're going to do this again, right? We've got the Power Boost going on next Monday. Angel, anything else on the calendar that pops up to you that I need to remember?
No, but I'm going to put the link in for the Experience Pros Network Facebook group. So Alicia, if you want to, I know you haven't jumped into that group. I don't know if you are in that group yet either, Janice, but I'm going to put the link to that group. It's our private Facebook group for you guys to jump in and join so you guys can interact with each other and mastermind and brainstorm with each other during the week.
Absolutely. I believe
Yeah,
that.
I was I'm getting an email with a link for this call. Can
You're
you
not?
check that you have my email listed? Because I don't remember seeing it there, where I've been on the calls and I haven't looked at it, but I don't know if you are. As it says here that the recording of calls are emailing Monday afternoon, but I don't remember seeing them.
Well, the recordings go onto our website called experiencepros.com, and then there's
okay.
experiencepros.com, and then there's under the member tab, there's a thing that says Power Boost, a link that says Power Boost, and that's where that is.
Okay.
And then we'll have to check on your email address, Alicia, too, to make sure that we have the right email address as well. But that is it for this week. I think it's just the Monday calls, Eric.
Okay, good enough.
It's a
All right.
holiday.
What's that?
He said it's the holidays.
It is a holiday. Absolutely.
Oh, no, there's a Friday call. I forgot. We're doing a Friday webinar on how to get your book published.
That's the one that was.
Which I don't think we have the link for that created yet. So we'll have to get that out and post that, and we'll make sure that you get that, Alicia. When do you leave town, Alicia?
This weekend, Saturday.
Okay, so we'll get it to you before then, because the call is on Friday. I forgot about that, Eric. Sorry.
Yep, no worries. Alicia, I see your email address, and it says that you're receiving the emails. You opened one of them about 2 weeks ago.
Really?
So make sure that you keep.
There is Alicia at ABC Travel. What is it?
Yes, it's Alicia at abctravelservice.com.
Okay, gotcha. I know. I was looking at the room. Mailbox, yeah.
All righty. So that's how we'll communicate with you and make sure that you're aware of the different links that are coming for you this week. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about. Let me get my my place back here. Talk a little bit about some media training and how to make the most out of your media opportunities as they develop. And I want to give you the 3 P's, the letter P, of doing a great media interview and preparing for that. And one of the P's is, in fact, prepare. I came across a great article with Brian Tracy that listed 27 different things that you can do to prepare for a great article. I don't want to overwhelm you, so I'm going to focus on one thing, 3 P's that will help. The first one is to prepare. In order to prepare, what I mean by that is to mentally get ready for your 10-minute or longer interview that you have coming up with a media opportunity. We do radio, so I'm going to focus in on the radio, and we do 10-minute interviews, so I'll help you in that context to structure your organization for a 10-minute interview. In that process of getting organized, remember that the typical purpose of a guest appearance or a correspondent host element to a program isn't necessarily to sell your products. The sales come by way of know, like, and trust, right? So if somebody knows you, likes you, and trusts you, or they feel like they know you, like you, and trust you, they will do business with you by gravity, right? It happens. But we have to build up that know, like, and trust. So in the organization process for a 10-minute interview, the first thing that I want you to do is write down first of all, pick a topic. What is it? Maybe it's the top 3 things, top 7 things. I wouldn't go beyond 7 just because of the time factor. But the top several things that travelers need to know, or the top 4 things that when going through a transition, you need to be aware of. Or you can flip it and do the negative side. The top 3 mistakes that people make when preparing to travel, or the top disasters, top 3 disasters in transition, if you're Janice and working in that arena. So to pick a topic, and then once you've got that topic, I'll tell you to write down all the bullet points. Don't type out everything you're going to say, but simply the bullet points that will trigger a response from you. So if you're going to talk about the top 3 travel tips, I want you to write 10 travel tips, 20 travel tips, whatever comes to your mind, you write down as a bullet point. Liquids, security, easy to remove shoes, any of these things that end up being in that list of things that you want to share with people. You're not going to get a chance to share 25 of them, but you will have a list of bullet points. And then based on those bullet points, you can also write questions for the hosts to ask you. So if it's, let's talk about the liquids, right? If you know that those liquids are 3 ounces and 4 ounces will get you in trouble, then you say, the question to the host might be, all right, Alicia, I've heard that you can only take 3 ounces, but I've sometimes got through with a 4-ounce bottle. Which is it, 3 or 4 ounces? You write that down. That's the question that we, during the interview, will ask you, and then you have a response to it because you not only wrote the question, but you also have the bullet point that you knew what you wanted to communicate with that bullet point. Is this making sense with you so far? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, good deal.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Janice. Once you've got your questions down and your bullet points that respond to those questions, the second P, the first P was prepare. The second P is prune. Oh, no. Sorry, practice. Practice. I gave you the third P in advance. The second P is practice. So you've got a list of, say, 10 things that you've written questions for, and you have in your mind a response. The practice element comes when you give your list, you've written it down, you give your list to somebody else and say, spend 10 minutes with me and ask me these questions. I want you to practice your responses. If you want, you can record that. You can either audio or video record that. I'll tell you right now, the first time you do it, it's going to feel uncomfortable because no one likes hearing their own voice. No one likes seeing the process, reviewing themselves on video, but it will make you better. So you've prepared, you've got your questions, you hand the questions to your spouse, your significant other, and you say, all right, ask me these questions and I'm going to give you my responses. And if you do record it, you'll have evidence of how it went. If you don't record it, here's what I expect will happen the first time you go through it. You might get through 1 or 2 questions and the 10 minutes is up. Because many times people answer thinking that they have to tell you everything that they know about whatever it is in the question that was asked. And there's another point there. You don't have to say everything that you know. Stick to the topic. You know what? U.S. Federal Aviation says it's 3 ounces, 4 ounces will get you. You throw that out. You can't use it. You can't take it. If it slipped through, that's a breach in security. But it's 3 ounces. That response needs to be that long, not minutes long, but maybe 30 seconds to a minute long maximum. You can give some color as to why that is and what's going on. Don't forget the underwear bomber or whatever it was that had the liquids, whatever. But then once you get through your preparation and your practice, now I want you to prune what you've written. And by doing that, what you're going to do is clip away the things that seem extra. So the goal is to get 4, maybe 5 questions in a 10-minute interview, which means there's room for banter back and forth if you have a quick response, and then if your response is quick within 15, 20 seconds, that gives the host to come back and interact with you about that. Oh, you know what? I once took sunscreen and it was 4 ounces and they said I couldn't take it. So, a little bit of back and forth on that. So prune, if you had 10 questions, drop it down to 5. And if you've got 5 questions, you're perfectly aligned for a great 10-minute interview. The final step in this, you've prepared, you've practiced, you've pruned, is to repeat it. Do it again. Go through the process again. You've got your 5 points now instead of 10 points. You hand it to your significant other and say, fire away. You record, if you are able, your responses to this so that the questions don't come off as a surprise to you in any way, shape, or form. And you've honed it down to right where you want it to be. And then prune it again. If you can get down to 3 questions, I want you to keep the other 2 as a reserve. But if you can get down to 3 questions, the most important things that you want to communicate in your how-to or your top 10 or your top 3 or whatever, now we have a well-prepared, practiced interview that's been pruned for your success. It's a fourth P that was supposed to be silent. So there it is. That's what I've got for you today. I think that if you can prepare, practice, prune, and then repeat, when it comes time for you to call in on that radio show, and you've got 10 minutes, the hosts will establish you as the perfect expert. They will sell your services at the beginning and the end of the interview. You only have to answer the questions that were presented, and you won't be surprised by those questions. You'll be prepared, and when you do, you'll be successful in that delivery. That's what I have for you today. Does that make sense, Alicia?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Janice, you got something to add to that?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. That's a great visual, and in my mind to really see how to go through that for a better interview. So thank you.
Absolutely. When talking about pruning, I always go back to when I was a kid. My dad had a war with my next door neighbor, Mrs. Reader. And Mrs. Reader one day came around and was pruning like all of the roses off of the roses that kind of went through our fence line that split the 2 homes. And she would come through and she would cut away all of these roses. And I saw that one day, and I went into my dad and I said, Dad, Mrs. Reader's cutting away all the roses. And my dad went out there and said, Janet Reader, I'm so angry with you. What are you doing? And she finally said, settle down, Ed. She says, in 6 weeks, you'll see the benefit of what I just did. And sure enough, as you prune, the value of pruning is it opens up opportunities for multiple blooms. And we had the most beautiful rose bush in the neighborhood, thanks to Mrs. Reader, who knew that pruning was healthy, not negative. So that's my gift for you. Angel, you want to wrap us up and send us on?
Actually, that was really great and valuable. I was at a speaker camp not too long ago, and one of the hardest things that for everybody in the classroom was we all took our 45-minute talk and had to break it down into an 8-minute talk. And it had everybody everybody was really challenged as to what do we cut out, and how do we, and so, you first start with just wanting to talk faster and throw it all in because you only have a couple of minutes. And so you try to say as much as you can. But what ends up happening is nobody's listening if you just speed up. And less is more. And this is the art form. I once heard a quote from Winston Churchill. If you need me to speak for an hour or two, I can do it today. If you need me to just do 7 or 8 minutes, I'm going to need 3 weeks. Because it's the pruning down of what's really most important. What are those sound bites? What are those takeaways that are going to push people to create some action? And it takes practice. And I think the very first time that you're ever on a radio interview and it gets cut short, you feel like, I didn't have enough time. And we hit so many people who come on the radio with us and say, I need the whole hour. This truly successful, those that have practiced, those that are interviewed all the time, those that have success at it are the ones that can do it in just a few minutes. Just capture those quick and concise points for your messaging. And so it's hard. It's really challenging, but it is so worth it. And then you will always be ready on the spot for any last minute fill in. If somebody needs somebody to speak at a business group or a trade association, and you just have a couple of minutes, then you are always ready, because we can always add more. We can always add more stories and add more details and more interaction when we've got more time. But if you can narrow that down and get that down into just a couple of minutes, oh my God, you are going to feel your confidence level is going to accelerate. You're going to always feel prepared to speak. It's also going to make you better at networking as well. Even having those phone conversations with new prospects and taking people through, it is going to really dial in and button up your messaging, and it is going to be so worth it. So great topic today, Eric. Thank you so much for that. I did post the link for our Experience Pros Facebook group into the chat window this morning. And then, like I said, we'll send out the email link for how to get your book published. That'll be Friday at noon Mountain Time. We'll send you the link for that. And then, of course, every Monday, you can always catch the replays. And I encourage you to go back. And if you ever just need a little boost, a little motivation, after you get off the phone or, something happens during the week, they are there for you at your resource. And so take advantage of them and use them. So good stuff today, Eric. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's my privilege. As you were talking, Angel, the thing that we're moving you towards, each and every one of you that watches this, and the reason that this media training exists, we're moving towards establishing you as the expert, the industry expert, which is really a very subtle but very powerful way of earning you credentials that get you paid more and that get more people interested in your services. And in order to do that, the way that we do it is we put you on major market radio. We make you a correspondent host for major market radio on a syndicated business talk radio show, which you look around and, look at all the other travel agents. How many of them are doing that? Look at all the other people who are doing transition coaching. How many of them are the expert, the ones that you want to model yourself after? We say lead by example. And so this process that I just gave you is exactly for that purpose, that we're moving you in the direction of becoming this correspondent. And if you think about it, the best correspondents, look at like any radio program or any television program. When you see a correspondent, maybe this is a horrible scenario, but it's the one that always comes to mind first. When a plane crashes, there's a guy named Greg who comes on. He's a former FAA instructor and investigator. He worked with the NTSA. He's the guy. He comes on, and guess how much time they give him in order to communicate what storyline he's trying to communicate? 3 minutes. That's it. So he has to be able to boil down his talking points. And by the way, in 3 minutes, this guy can tell me about user error, the plane that they were flying, the known issues with the plane that they were flying, what could have been the weather or topographical issues. There's left and right. He's giving us all kinds of things because he's the guy. He's the expert. And we want that for you. We want you to become the expert, maybe in your small community, maybe in the US. That's up to you. However long you decide you want to participate in that process. But these 3 P's, and then repeat and do it again, will get you to paring it down to Winston Churchill's 7-minute I'm ready. All right. With that being said, folks, I want to thank you so much. We hope that you had a great holiday weekend, and we will be in touch with each and every one of you throughout the week. Alicia, make sure you click on the link and get over to the Experienced Pros Network group so that you can participate in that as well. You'll love the people that are in there.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you,
Have
guys.
a good week.
No, you first.
Okay.
We'll
Bye-bye.
see you.
Okay.